Welcome to a new Energy Capital interview. I'm Belina Ferrer, and today we'll be talking with Teresa Nealon, President and Founder at Engineer Salinity. Hi, Teresa. It's great to see you today. How are you?
I'm fine, Belina. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. In this interview, Teresa will talk with us about carbon capture and storage. So, without further introduction, I'll start with the first question. We know that there are four mechanisms that trap CO2: stratigraphic, solubility, mineralization, and residual or capillary trapping. What is the critical factor in the effectiveness of residual trapping?
The effectiveness of residual trapping is determined by the wettability of the system. In carbon dioxide storage, the buoyant carbon dioxide is a supercritical liquid, and it attempts to move upward through the porous media. The capillary forces that make water cling to the rock resist the upward movement of the CO2 as it tries to displace the water and move through the pore throats. The more water wet the water rock CO2 system is, the more resistant to upward movement of CO2 through the rock. The more resistance, the better the residual trapping.
So with your knowledge and technology, how is Engineer Salinity ESal able to enhance safety and increase storage capacity in carbon reservoirs?
Engineered salinity is about altering wettability in sandstone and carbonate rocks by using water chemistry. We can change the wettability to increase the amount of CO2 that can be stored in the pore spaces and maximize residual saturation to increase retention of the stored CO2.
Can you share your forecast for the upcoming years regarding carbon capture and storage according to the current protocols?
I think CCS will become a much more commercially established technology in the coming years. The technology has always been there, but the finances and the will have not. Through the most recent bipartisan infrastructure bill, the government will be awarding millions of dollars to public and private partnerships to get CCS projects in the ground. Also, CCS is an important climate change mitigation technology, but it will also bridge the need for fossil fuels while renewable energy technologies get established in the market. CCS enables us to continue to use fossil fuels without emitting CO2.
What are the most critical factors that impact the cost of storage?
There are three. The first is how much pore space there is available to be filled. The second is how well CO2 is immobilized by residual trapping. And the final factor is the size of the area of review, or the AOR. And the area of review is essentially the surface footprint that corresponds to the underground footprint of the storage site. Larger footprints at the surface mean much more cost. More storage per pore space means less footprint and less AOR.
Okay, so what are the solutions ESal's right water technology can provide?
Our technology, also known as right water, means we can engineer the water chemistry to maximize the storage capacity and minimize the subsurface volume required to store the CO2. We can also minimize the AOR and do all of this while we increase the safety of storage.
What is your perception of a women's empowerment within the professional field?
Somehow, I've always believed I can do whatever I want and be whatever I want. My mother always said that my father wanted boys, so maybe my father raised me as though I was one. I've always believed that no one is going to empower you. You empower yourself. You believe it can be done and you figure out how to do it. I never pictured myself as an entrepreneur, never believed I'd start my own company. But I believed in my co-founder and his intellect and believed I could make a successful company out of it. I handled all the business aspects and just had to figure out what needed to be done, whether it was properly accounting for expenses, handling IP, or strategizing for business growth. The same is true in the field of CCS. There are many, many opportunities out there where we can play a pivotal role, and I need to figure out what's the best fit for ESal.
What is lacking in society and education for an egalitarian system of participation and leadership?
In talking with my girlfriend who is a working mom, she cited better parental leave programs and more flexible work schedules as necessary to improve the success rate of women in the workforce. Our country's focus on work, asking where someone works is often the first question we ask when we meet someone, and our lack of work-life balance could be seen as a huge contributor to this issue. If we want a more egalitarian workplace, we need to acknowledge that our personal lives are as important, if not more, than our work life. For me personally, as a child-free woman, I can answer that question if I turn it around. What is present in society which prevents an egalitarian system of participation and leadership? And I think it's fear. White men are losing ground. The world is becoming more diverse, and they are afraid of losing control to people who don't look like them or come from where they come from. And that, unfortunately, includes women.
Regarding stereotypes and gender roles imposed on women, do you consider that in the USA we have advanced, or what needs to continue changing?
If you had asked me 2 years ago, I would have said things are moving in the right direction. You know, there was the Me Too movement, which unfortunately I was part of as well, and women were being appointed to the Supreme Court. But now we're talking about preventing women from making choices about their bodies and their lives. Women still earn less than men, and women more often need to step away from the workforce to care for children or aging parents, which means they lose countless dollars in pay and experience that are difficult to regain. And then when they re-enter the workforce after leaving as a caregiver, or even for other reasons like a career change, this provides continued challenges due to sexism, ageism, and even the emotional toll of returning to the workforce. I know the pendulum swings, but as long as the fulcrum moves forward, it's fine with me. In some ways, the fulcrum has moved backward, and it's beyond my understanding as to what steps we need to take to make change. So all I can do is focus on what I can control, surrounding myself with good people, encouraging them to speak up, and utilizing their ideas whenever possible. Also empowering and celebrating them, and then believing in myself and my thoughts and ideas.
What are your most enriching experiences throughout your professional career?
Knowing that I made a difference, championing a program for first-generation college students that enabled one young man to get a full ride scholarship to any college in this country, and spearheading my company's efforts to get a smart, capable, and driven individual his green card. Another example is providing someone with a job that became a springboard to a better place for him. So essentially finding out that I made a difference in someone's life through my efforts at work.
Thank you so much, Teresa. Would you like to add any final thoughts?
No, thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it, Valley.
Thank you. See you soon.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.